There we go. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. You're in the world. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh, where'd you go? Guys, stop it. Check one. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I was watching the Scott Pelley thing, and there's a news guy thing. There really is. There is. It's not. They don't all have them, but you know, I got to like get into radio right at the end of the period of the news diva, but it was still happening, and there was like a self-importance to a lot of these guys, the newsroom guys, and we had one of these guys who said, we so he wasn't a bad guy. He just a guy who hated me. The self-important news guy. No, these are the radio news guys. And we had one guy at a few of them had, most of them were great, fun people like Ben Parker and Paul Tuthill. Rod Fritz was a good guy. Almost all of them, but there was one guy who had definitely had the self-important like radio thing. And that was Listo Fisher. Listo Fisher, and when I was there, he just got some good publicity too. He got like written up in the Globe magazine or something. So, and he was dapper. He was old school, what you'd think of with the radio. Like he came from old school radio, AM radio news when it was a thing. It came with prestige. Kind of like the couple of the stragglers like Gary LaPierre would have been like one in Boston up here in WBZ. Who, by the way, as a doorman before I became a concierge, I actually parked his car. I was so thrilled to see Gary LaPierre because I was an AM radio guy, even though I was 21 years old. I was thrilled, and I rifled through his glove compartment, and there was all headshots of Gary LaPierre. That was the thing. If you were the news guy back then, you had to have headshots. And then when he did tip me, and I put my radio on WBZ when I returned his car to him, and I said, "Oh, it's on this station here. I put it on. It's the best station." And he said, "Oh yeah, that's me." I said, "Oh yeah, I know." He said, "Oh, okay," and he tipped me, and then that was it. It was it didn't go off. It went off as awkward as it could. But there's nothing more that a radio guy wanted than the news guy, than the opportunity to say that's me. So like Listo wasn't a bad guy. So what? Listo was great, but he'd do entitled things like he would. So maybe it wasn't great. When I was the front desk associate, when I was the receptionist, he would do things like his lamp broke. And he would do things like he brought his lamp to me and he put it on the desk and he said, "Please have this fixed. Please make sure that somebody can service this." And it's like it's not at all my job for lamp fixing. Like I don't know where that goes or whatever, but he just wanted me to like it was a thing. So whatever, I took the lamp and I don't know what I did. So and they liked me just fine. Like a lot of the divas did just fine when I was the receptionist. But then I got into WRKO starting on the weekends, and then I trained myself, and then I did extra stuff to get in good with them, and then like a year later I was the executive producer, which means that I was the on paper one under the program director, although not really. Like I was in charge of all the producers, but if I was going to fire anybody I would have to go through the program director. And so you're doing a lot of the schedules, getting equipment, getting yelled at by people. Like that's what you do. Executive producer is a grunt job. But since I got it and I leapfrogged all over the producers, they all hated me. They were all angry, and I like this was my first management job. So initially I cared. Like I got them all Christmas presents, and like I was really nice. I wanted to help them out. I got them raises. If I could go back in time, I don't think I'd do any of that. It just wasn't worth it. I saw these guys like 10 years after I got out of that station at a dinner, and they said, "Come over here, Tom." And I came over there, and two of them said "F you" to me. It's like, okay. Guess you're over it. But they were salty because I leapfrogged over all of them because I had my eyes on the prize. I worked harder. I showed the managers that I actually cared about talk radio. I knew more about talk radio. I was smarter than these guys. I worked harder than these guys. And so I got the job. And a lot of people were angry at me. Like when I got the job, I got Rich Teeter, who was the Dennis and Jerry Callahan's producer. I got the job. He would try to be rude to me and try to like get up in my face. He was an older guy to be a producer and one of these like hardos who would like tell the younger kids out like he was a tough grizzly, whatever. I was 31 when I went to a radio station. So like you guys, by the time you're 31, you've seen every kind of a-hole out there. So nothing's really new. And I think people assumed that I was a bigger pushover than I was because I had come from the reception desk, and like they just assumed that I was like, born a soft receptionist, and maybe to an extent but I wasn't. I was an evil bastard back there, or I was at least capable of it. So anyway, so that consternation by all the producers were salty, and they were friends with Listo Fisher, the newsroom. So he was salty on their behalf. Like, who is this guy coming in here? And I tried to make changes when I got there, like into like run the ship better. I wanted more stuff to sound better, and so they didn't like this. Like, who are you? Like, you were the receptionist. Like, and of course a bunch of people like just scowled at me, and they were angry because it's a good gig, the radio to get. Just because there were so few gigs on radio, and so I got a gig in management that came with an office and a desk, and into all the meetings and strategy and talking to syndicators and building out so it was exciting. And I mean, they were right in a sense. I wasn't ready for the job because I know nothing about radio. I knew nothing about traffic and continuity. What is it? Continuity, traffic and continuity. I didn't even know what traffic in radio is. You're trafficking commercials. It's not cars on the road. I knew nothing about that. I knew nothing about what the word copy meant. And remember the traffic girl one time, she said, "Oh, Tom, I got to get you that copy." And I said, "Okay, you can just email it to me." She said, "No, you know what? You need it physically." I said, "Oh, isn't it copy just like copy the text that you're reading?" She said, "No, this copy is a CD. It's a CD of programming that we're going to be playing." You didn't know that? I said, "No." She said, "Oh." So like they were happy to rub it in, let me know how unqualified I was. Some of them weren't. Some were great. Some are really, really, really great. Some didn't freaking care. Some could see that the moment I got the receptionist job, I was gunning to move up, and so I was trying to help everybody out, and people appreciate that. So anyway, Listo, he's the big news. He's the news guy, and he's the union shop steward too. And so there's also these battles going on from the unions with management, and there had been a problem earlier because VB and Sandy from the Howie Carr show had, because they had speaking roles, the unions demanded they be made union, and the management said no, and then they weren't allowed to talk, and then eventually it led to this and that, and there was all sorts of fights. And I remember one time Jerry and Pete Gustin getting in a blowout fight in their thing about the union shop stuff. It was just it was crazy. I was a radio fan and I knew all these personalities, so I was thrilled to be part of it. I didn't care. So anyway, um, so Listo, he used to always, when he was in the studio, I'd be in the control room. You'd be in the control room running a show. Then Listo would do his news, and that's, all your sports news updates coming next half an hour right here on Boston Talk Station WRKO. And then he'd hang up his headphones, and then he'd say into the intercom to us in the control room, and that's how it's done. And he always do that without ever stopping. But I remember Listo always very, very self-important kind of guy like that. And what he then, because the unions were fighting management, which is me, right? Even though I had no say, it was way above my head, my level. So I remember one time Listo getting so what we used to have on our phones back then, our desk phones. They would all have a speaker. In my phone, my speaker would play. It played by default. Anybody who worked at Intercom back then remembers. It would play WRKO. So I could hear it. Just made sense. Those of us for RKO would be hearing RKO, whether we liked it or not. But sometimes what it would do is if you got a call as it was playing in WRKO, after it rang, the volume would double. So WRKO was coming out twice as loud. So anyway, I'm in my office and I'm doing a thing, and Listo he's starting to crack up because they're trying to deunionize, and so he's assuming there's rats everywhere and this and that, like moles, you know what I mean? And my phone rings and I'm doing something, I don't answer it, and then suddenly the volume goes up on my phone again, and he runs into the room where I am. He says, "Damn it, I know you're doing this on purpose. I know you're doing this on purpose." And he ripped my phone up and he smashed it down on the ground. And then he went off like a psycho. The whole reason I bring this, he thought that I was doing some psyop to F him up because to his newscast. I don't know. It was all a rip and read operation there anyway. The whole point of this is that this Scott Pelley stuff is it's so quintessential. Okay, that's another thing Listo did one time. He started to I rat on him out for this to Jason Wolf. He started to say call the Iraq War the Iraq debacle, and he said that's the latest in the Iraq debacle. And I went to Jason Wolf and I said you can't do that with this audience. Be calling this thing a debacle. And Jason corrected him, and I'm sure that wasn't appreciated. But anyway, the Scott Pelley thing reminds me of that. Listo wasn't like that. He wasn't like just intolerable. Just, oh my God. But the self-importance, the stories these guys tell about themselves, these news guys, the place that they believe they have in history, it's unfreaking believable. The self-importance. And the same thing, like to his credit, the way Listo used to come in with a full suit, nobody dresses as good as him, as well as him, and he had a nice Mercedes, and he was like, it was an air of this is an important newsman. Your news, you can come to me and I'll have the latest. You can trust me, the most trusted, that kind of whole thing. So, so the Scott Pelley thing is, as you know. Scott Pelley got fired from CBS, from 60 Minutes, because Barry Weiss runs 60 Minutes. She does a great job. She writes the Free Press, or runs the Free Press. We get the trillion subscribers or whatever. And so Barry Weiss goes in there. They wax the executive producer of 60 Minutes. They bring in a new guy, and the new guy, Scott Pelley, dresses him down, and then they fire him. Which is fantastic, which is what should happen. There should be nobody like Scott Pelley who's this talentless. There should be nobody like him working. Now, so Scott Pelley gets fired, and then, of course, he's a martyr. This is the man who's been your trusted newsman, delivering you unbiased information that the world needs. Truth to power, challenging authority in the face of, in these crazy times, where the one voice, it's like, they're so self-important. They're also biased as shit. They're just activists. They I don't even know if they think they are, but they think they're awesome. And it's all reinforced because they all get paid millions of dollars. So they're like, I wouldn't be this rich if I wasn't really, really good. I mean, you see it too. Wow. That is a bright, it seems like I'm freaking near a nuclear blast. I'll turn this one down. I'll turn one down. Should I turn one down? Is that better like that? Sorry, I'm talking about my light. To those who now it's kind of a mystery. Yeah, I'm turning this one down. Okay, we're gonna do this. It's more intimate this way. So I've got some Scott Pelley cuts here, and I just think this is freaking perfect, perfect. The self importance of these people. There's nothing matches it. They're just like so sure that you are lucky to be in their presence. Here's Scott Pelley in this interview. Who is he talking to here? I wish get her. Lulu Garcia Navarro. She's probably the New York Times, I assume.
Why did you feel compelled to speak up?
It was fate. First of all, our entire senior staff had been wiped out. They're not there. I looked around the room. I'm the only correspondent there, which surprised me very much. I learned that my colleagues were out shooting stories, as they should be in the month of June. But I'm the only correspondent there, which surprised me. And I looked around at my friends and colleagues in the room and realized I was the senior person.
Feel compelled to
already,
speak
by
up.
the way.
There, which surprised me very much. I learned that my colleagues were out in the room and realized I was the senior person.
Already at this point, he's already showing the signs of a diva who needs to be fired. Already. And already this level of self-importance, you need to be waxed.
Only I could do it.
Do what?
None of them could be asked to take that risk. So when I saw Nick Bilton's email and then saw him reading to my broken-hearted people off his phone,
Shut the F up, my broken-hearted people. They are so freaking entitled. Can you imagine? Broken-hearted, what they did to us. Broken-hearted. Just take your firing and go.
I felt that somebody had to stand up for the broadcast, not just the broadcast, but the people.
Oh, God, his faces he's making. Oh, God, so punchable.
There are people in that room who go to war zones when they are pregnant.
Here comes the waterworks. Fucking psycho. If I were this lady, I'd just stop her interview and say, "Sir, you are a complete condescending plastic pussy, and we're ending this." Can you imagine this psycho? He's cracking up. He's crying now. Such a selfless man. My goodness, so considerate of others.
Newsrooms are sort of like the military or the police. Or
mostly they're not.
The beautiful people at the FDNY down the street. It is a life-threatening job in many instances.
Yep, but mostly it's not, especially TV.
And very strong bonds.
Down the street of the FDNY, they're in New York. He's talking about these people died in 9/11. The firefighters were like, we're all in the buildings. How many media died?
Very emotional bonds are found or are developed in that.
Anybody who thinks like this is a pain in the ass and should be fired immediately. Shut up. Do your job. Shut up.
That kind of setting. And to have people.
By the way, I will tell you that I did clip some people at WRKO. I did make the case to the powers that be that certain people should go. So I just didn't take it, when these sticks in the mud decided that I needed to be taught a lesson. Actually, we fired everybody. Listo was right. Listo said that if they get rid of the union, they're going to fire all of us. And they got rid of the union, and we set a meeting for that night. And I remember Rod Fritz said, "Tom, what's going on tonight? Are they going to fire us?" And I said, "I don't know what's going on, Rod." Of course, I did know, and I was there, and they all get fired.
Running CBS News, who don't know that, have never felt that, and don't understand it.
It's ours. You don't get it. You don't get this rarefied air that we have. This is our thing. I don't give a if you guys are having, cakes in the break room for yourselves every week, and you have a great esprit de corps. It's not your job to internalize this as your very own thing that you own. So that a new guy comes to fix your stupid product, and you yell at him.
Is a tragedy I never expected to see.
Freaking, can you imagine? Total peace. Oh, it only gets worse. Stay with me here because I've got more cuts here.
Can I give you a little bit of background? The Simon family is legendary at CBS News. Her father was a famous
Somebody who was whacked.
Vietnam correspondent, and then Bob Simon covered every single war, everywhere in the world.
We're really important, in other words. It's a legacy family in important establishment, elite media in New York City. It's legacy. Do you understand?
World throughout his
Anytime you have to start by telling people how important you are, it's always a pretty freaking pathetic endeavor.
entire career. I was with him in Kuwait during the Gulf War in 1990. We would stand on the roof of the hotel and watch the missiles come in. He taught me how to be a war correspondent. And then Tanya Simon comes in. She's at the broadcast 30 years.
30 years is about the amount of time 60 Minutes has absolutely sucked.
There is no respect for that. Get out of the office by 5 o'clock.
Yeah, go, wow, welcome to the world the rest of us live in. Oh, you pussy. Don't you understand how special we are? She's one of the Simons, you know. Don't you understand that? Oh.
What company in the world treats their precious people?
You're not precious. That's a problem. Oh, they're precious people. Oh.
In that way.
Don't they know who we are?
The callousness, the inhumanity, breathtaking, complete lack of empathy in this management for anyone who works there. How can you have someone who deserves so much respect? Tanya Simon.
Oh, he's losing it again.
Spent her whole childhood waiting for the call that her father was dead.
Oh, this guy is beautiful. This guy is beautiful.
Never knowing if she would ever see him again.
But mostly knowing that she'd see him, that day or that night when he got back from his trip. He'd end up back in their Long Island $2 million home as she, as he made his $1 million a year, whatever it was.
Whole childhood. Get out by 5 o'clock.
I would, now that I'm seeing this, I would say get out right now. You've got 10 minutes to get out, or else you don't get this. We don't activate this gift card that's got the rest of your benefits on it.
Make of that what you will.
I make of it that you're an entitled prick, and you all should be fired.
I can hear how much this has hurt you.
By the way, what an unstable psycho. Can you imagine this guy being, like, charged with responsibilities?
Yes. It's like your spouse being murdered.
Did you just hear that? You heard that, right? It's like your spouse being murdered. Okay.
And I don't care about me. It's not about me.
No. It's not about me.
I am not emotional about this because I have lost this job. I've done it for a long time. I've had the greatest experiences. But the people I leave behind treated in this way.
It's not about me. How beautiful.
That breaks my heart. And it's going to take me a long time to get over it, to be perfectly honest.
What a solid guy. What a great, great guy. You know, I'm mad at you guys that you're not nearly as good a guy as this guy is. I'm mad at you guys. How dare you? It's not about him. It's not about me. No, I'm selfless. This is me being magnanimous. Yeah, Julian Phil says the only 60-minute correspondent truly in danger was Lara Logan reporting in Cairo during Arab Spring, sexually assaulted. Yes, she was. She's lucky to be alive. And I believe CBS fired her. Pelly is a feckless pissant who just lost his $1 million job because he's you're so totally right about that, Chesapeake. He's the worst kind of CS there is in the world. I bet she stiffs terribly, and I bet she treats the staff at hotels terribly too. Did I say stiffs terribly? I guess she tips terribly. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh God, this guy's such a puke. Here we go.
What was the feeling about that particular opening salvo to the team?
She, I am told, said something to the effect of, "Why do you think the country thinks you're biased?" But she didn't offer any kind of a metric. What's your metric? Why do you think so? Do you have a poll? Is there market research? What are you talking about? Because we certainly didn't believe that.
What was the feeling about that particular opening salvo to the team?
Hold on, I just want to say.
She, I am told.
There's a whole bunch of research, by the way. And like the beginning part of this post, it actually has the research there that mentions like that they don't trust them anymore. We could probably find it right here, as a matter of fact. Look at this is newspapers, TV, and radio. When it comes to reporting the mass media, such as newspaper, TV, and radio, when it comes to reporting the news fully, accurately, and fairly, a great deal, a fair amount, not much at all. Let's see, not very much, none at all is up at 36%. Great fair amount from 1975 to 2025, went from 75% to 25%. So, yeah, of course people don't trust them because they're freaking biased. They tried to Jan Riley used 60 Minutes too to try to prove Bush lied about serving in the military. Jesus. Obviously, I mean, he's a dandy little chud who wants to believe that he was, you've heard how self-important he is. Doesn't matter. Oh, here we go. This is if you thought it's bad so far, it's worse.
I've never worn the uniform.
He's crying again.
But I've been in combat for this country.
Wow.
In Afghanistan and Iraq, Kuwait. Been shot at, spent nights in foxholes.
By the way, it's not about
filling
him,
up
remember.
with water in the desert. I'm not aware that the President of the United States has ever done any of those things for his country. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Wow.
You become a journalist because you love the First Amendment. You become a journalist because you love.
Let's see if I have the longer version of this. Okay, this might be the same exact one, but I want to start here again.
I've never worn the uniform.
Okay, let's take this all in together again, okay? Let's take this all again. I've never taken the warm uniform. But here he says it.
I've never worn the uniform.
He's crying again.
But I've been in combat for this country.
That's a frigging damning thing to say, you psychotic frigging stolen valor, vile piece of crap.
In Afghanistan and Iraq, Kuwait, been shot at, spent nights in foxholes filling up with water in the desert. I'm not aware that the President of the United States has ever done any of those things for his country.
Sly, tongue-in-cheek, as he continues to get more, his eyes are getting more heavy with tears.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. You become a journalist because you love the First Amendment.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly why he does it. That's why they do it, right. It's not about fancy cars and getting to feel like somebody or being on TV at all, no.
You become a journalist because you love the country.
You effing piece of crap. Bullshit.
And while all the other...
You become a journalist because freaking Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman were in a very exciting movie that was about Watergate that you decided that was your raison d'etre as boomers to show the world how important you were?
Descriptions that the president used about me might be applicable. Not that one. There is no democracy without journalism.
Yeah, which is why what you're doing when you masquerade it as journalism is dangerous. In other words, there's no democracy without him, is what he's telling you.
It can't be done. And that is why I am a journalist.
Holy God.
I've never worn the uniform.
Oh, my God. I don't even know. I mean, Alice, I just saw that some chick named Landers or whatever married Jim Acosta, and he's Scott Pelley. They're the same person. And I thought, like, Alice, when she married me, like, she's downgrading in many ways by marrying me. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not that guy. I'm not him. She doesn't have to sit there next to me while I'll tell people that I was in combat. Holy frig. Freaking amazing. Amazing. I don't even know how to say it. Well, the reason why we're in trouble today is, of course, because Donald Trump yelled at Kristen Welker.
What they did to the lives of people, they destroyed people. They sent people to jail who did nothing wrong.
All right, just to be very clear, there's no evidence of what you're saying. But let me ask you about Todd Blanche. Let me ask you about Todd Blanche.
Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd Blanche.
There's tremendous evidence. There's nothing but evidence. The election was rigged. It was a dirty election. And it's happening again right now in California.
You've never presented evidence.
It's happening right now in California. Right now, it's look at what's happening in California.
To that?
It's
the
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. No, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with it. You know why they're doing that? Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support that?
All I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not evidence.
And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But, sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes in California.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election, and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a winner?
State and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging the votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote in California.
They're crooked, just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Well, you play right into their hands.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid. You play right into their hands with this rap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But, Mr. President,
you know why I got that? Because you have no credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd Blanche.
You have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk about
your elections in this country. We're like a third world country. Your elections are.
Can I just say, are they recording next to a waterfall? Like, why? Why is that noise there? I have no problem with what Trump's doing at all. He can browbeat her if he feels it's selected because he feels it's stolen because he thinks it's stolen. He thinks it's stolen. I can tell you one thing: that if this were a Democrat, she would maybe go back at him once, but would not continue to stick a pin in it. Which is why she's effing annoying and has no idea that she's totally biased, but she is. She also sucks at this.
Crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC, and CBS, and CNN.
But, Mr. President,
you're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know.
I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
Well, that's what it is. It's the rain. Oh, it's great that he's still yelling at her, and he tore his lavalier off. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin. Oh, imagine that. Poor thing.
On and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr. President,
a country can never be great with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
How great. How great.
All the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know.
I've sat in the rain with you for an hour. On and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press, because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be great with a dishonest press.
We traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
I frigging love it. No problem at all.
I spoke with President Trump on Saturday, and we both acknowledged the complications during the interview posed by the rain.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I like it no matter what. There's more of it. I'll play more in the chat. There's more Pelly, too, to play. My goodness. Oh, my God. This guy is such a dirtbag.
Do you think Barry Weiss needs to be removed?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Gosh, yes, you have to. I mean, she writes for this thing called Substack and found a new way to make money and success in the media in 2026, and we can't have that around. We need to stick to the old way that worked in 1965.
Look, she's a lovely person. And her free press organization that she founded has been very successful. She's proven that. Great for her. But television's not her thing. She brings an ideology into CBS News where that is just anathema.
Oh, right. By the way, television's not your thing anymore, you loser. Oh, my God. This guy is... I can't stand much more. All right. Hold on. Sorry for crying kids. I don't know what's going on out there. Let's see if we got in the chat. And then I'll play more of this stuff on the Patreon. I think we have one message on the chat. It's from Billy. Oh, Billy. Good news, Billy. Hold on. Let me go ahead. I'll just play it.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
You know, this is just it's almost too funny. So Tom watches an episode of Party of Five, and then all of a sudden now he's dating Jennifer Love Hewitt at the Green Dragon. I mean, okay. I can't.
Dream come
Chicago true. Tom, now Green Dragon Tom. Oh my God.
Green Dragon. Green Dragon in Boston, actually, I hooked up twice coming out of the Green Dragon. So I always considered it like my place because like 2 times out of 1,000, some woman showed interest in me. But so yes, that Green Dragon is I consider it in the plus column. But yeah, Liza Riolo was indeed lovely. She was lovely. She had the little glinty eyes like JLH had back then. She was such a cutie. I can confirm because I was talking to some of the guys. I think Steve knew her. Timmy Canton knew her. I was dating Supple at the time, so that's why the relationship didn't. Of course. But she was such an alpha too. She was telling me what to do and stuff. She was like, for now on, when we meet, we'll like come here. We'll go to Boston Con. We'll do this, and like she's a total alpha. She's a tiny little thing too. All right, yeah, she was beautiful. It is true. By the way, Billy, I did use the barbecue sauce. It's delicious. We had it on chicken thighs. Delicious. Kids ate it. Everybody ate it. It was wonderful. Thank you. I should have brought the sauce and like met up because everybody was in town and met up with people and given them some. Like I saw Tim and I saw Danny from Billerica and I saw Steve from Merrimack. Guys, I will do that. And Ned Snark, I'm supposed to send him one too. And then there's Alice is away. Alice is in Chicago, and so I'm getting my stuff together. That's what I'm doing. I am turning over a new leaf. That's what I am doing. Oh, I meant to talk about my Wegovy on my other show. Maybe I'll mention it when we get back here. Maybe that's what I'll do. All right, guys, thank you so much. Good to be back. I mean, how good is this Pelly stuff? I mean, makes you want to punch me. I don't understand. But thank you. And for those of you who are on Patreon, if you're watching right now, you're watching on Patreon, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. And I guess I'll see you in a minute here. And you know what? I'm getting better at this. I mean, just dealing without else. Food show. I did a food show tonight. I'll see you later.
C'est la vie.